Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies, MPY 002 Western Philosophy. Block 1, Introduction to Western Philosophy. Unit 1, Characteristics of Western Philosophy. Unit 2, Division of Western Philosophy. Unit 3, Major Issue of Western Philosophy. Unit 4, Major Thinkers of Western Philosophy. Block Introduction. Philosophy is an important branch of human knowledge. The conception of philosophy and approaches of philosophy have been varied with social context. Western philosophy has been constructed on certain propositions. The Western philosophy has taken its starting point from Greco-Roman philosophy. The Western philosophy, under the spell of modernity, has an impact on the non-Western world too. The objective of this chapter is to make familiar the characteristics of Western philosophy. Western philosophy is a philosophy evolved from Western civilization and its historical development. With changing socio-economic and political conditions, Western philosophy to changed over a period of time. The approaches and styles of doing philosophy may vary, but we can identify certain features on which Western philosophy got constructed. It does not mean that it dismissing the philosophical thought of Western society, but arguing for new methods of inquirers in understanding the Western reality against the dominant view of Western philosophy. Unit 1 explores some of the basic characteristics of Western philosophy with an historical note. Western philosophy from its Greek origin has been dealing with realities of world, religion, God, human. Modern Western philosophy has not only critical about orthodox religion but also came with ideals of secularism, humanism, scientific temperament, progress and development, skepticism, rationality, individualism, and scientific methods are influenced the human conception in understanding the world. Philosophy is search, a search for wisdom of life. In the course of time, this process of their thinking turned into a method and later into school, system or thought. In Unit 2 on division of Western philosophy, we would describe the development of this Western thought from the pre-Socratic to the contemporary continental philosophies with a special reference to major schools. It enables the students not only to know the mere history of Western philosophy, but how thought or thinking pattern is evolving to newer problems and newer solutions. The unit third is an overview of concern, methods and issue of Western philosophy. Human beings exist in the world and with the world. All questions about reality are also questions about ourselves and the way we interpret our knowledge about reality. All questions of philosophy are also existential questions. The issue arising out of various branches of philosophy in dealing with the question of reality are spelled out in this unit. Unit 4 provides the brief view of important philosophical ideas of major thinkers, major thinkers of Western thought who enriched the philosophical enterprises. In the history of Western philosophy, we may find many philosophers with diverse philosophical streams. Historically, it is evident that the idea of philosophy has been changing from time to time with changing social context. The history of philosophy is constituted by its interrelation between the ideas, agent, and social context, but this is confined to selectively few thinkers as a representative of this prominent philosophical movement. This unit introduces the importance of each philosopher and their contribution to philosophy. Course Introduction. Philosophy is the rational and critical inquiry into basic principles. Philosophy means the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. Philosophy comprises all areas of speculative thought and included the art, science, and religion. The term philosophy is often used popularly to mean a set of basic values and attitude toward life, nature, and society. Thus, the phrase philosophy of life. Philosophy is the mirrors the context, time, and land. Each ideology is shaped by its geographical, cultural, and temporal aspect of certain region. Philosophy qualified as Western philosophy is no exception to it. The Greco-Roman philosophers are speculative about reality. The philosophers are pre-Socratic period are having a naturalist orientation. Heraclitus' materialistic monism is a representative of this age. Plato philosophy is in response to sophists and other democratic states of his times. He represents the age and ideals of aristocracy by proposing the philosopher's rule. He had an attempt to rationally construct and codify the value system for an Aristotelic change. The medieval philosophers' approach is theological. The modern philosophers are critical about orthodox religion and treat the philosophical problems with a temperament of science. Descartes' method of doubt and his search for certainty represent the mood of modern Western philosophy. The modern philosophy has two dominant traditions: empiricism and rationalism. Locke, Berkeley, and Hume represent the former, and Descartes, Leibniz, and Spinoza represents the latter. Kant, through his critical philosophy, reconciled both of these traditions. Hegel, the Hegel, through his philosophical method, dialectical idealism, adds new dimension to philosophy. Marx, through his dialectical materialism, has not only changed the orientation of philosophy but also outlined the purpose. The phenomenologists Edmund Husserl and Martin Heidegger tries to tries to capture the essence of the world through typical scientific way. In continuation of this, the existentialist thinkers declares that existence precedes essence. Jean-Paul Sartre is the important thinker of existentialism. The analytical philosophers gave new direction to philosophy by saying philosophy as critique of language. The analytical philosophy has two dominant approaches: logical atomism, represented by Bertrand Russell and early Wittgenstein, and the logical positivism of A.G. Ayer. Carnap. Wittgenstein is a prominent analytical philosopher and set the boundaries for this kind of philosophy. He moved from his early logical atomistic position to ordinary language philosophy. The continuational such as continuational philosophers such as Emmanuel Levinas gave new direction by questioning the preoccupied assumption of modern Western philosophy by focusing on ethics and other. The postmodernist philosophy has not only critical about modern Western philosophy and its dominant discourses, but also provides new way of inquiry in understanding the social reality. Lathard, Derrida, Foucault, Burke, Frederick Jameson are some of the leading philosophers of postmodernism. Derrida method of deconstruction is worth nothing, and Foucault emphasis of relation between knowledge and power provides new direction in philosophy by driving by bringing into view the marginalized discourses. Block 1 introduces philosophy in Western tradition, focusing on its characteristics, major division, issue, and prominent thinkers. Block 2 deals with Greek philosophy, starting from a speculation about the underlying nature of the philosophical world to Socratic method of inquiry and Platonic and Aristotelian systems of philosophy. Block third goes back to the medieval period, brought Christian scholastic philosophy along with Jewish and Islamic philosophy. The philosophy of this period is characterized by analysis of the nature and properties of God, the metaphysics involving substance, essence, and accident. Philosophy of medieval age was an attempt to construct religious thought with reasoned account of its various doctrines. Block 4 mainly survey rationalism of Descartes, empiricism of Hume, transcendentalism of Immanuel Kant, and Hegel dialectical absolutism. This block will provide students a broad background in the history of modern Western philosophy, preparing you for both advanced work in the history of philosophy and contemporary study of a wide range of topics including epistemology, philosophy of science, philosophy of mind, and metaphysics. Block 5 and 6 broadly speaks of the Western philosophers and tradition in the contemporary period, starting from 19th century to the present day. However, these blocks present major thinkers and trends during this period. They are not exclusive, these also present variety of trends in philosophical thinking like Marxism, existentialism, linguistic philosophy, process philosophy, pragmatism, phenomenology, hermeneutics, structuralism, postmodernism, etc., adding to the richness of philosophical quest.